Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Jacques Doucet from WAFB caught up somewhere with Leonard Fournette and mentioned this little ditty about the possibility of playing for the hometown team.
We'll see. We'll see. From New Orleans, it'll be an honor to play in the Superdome, especially with the Saints. Me growing up 5 minutes from there, so we shall see.
Fournette said he's not retired, so he is looking for his next team. And to be clear, he didn't bring that up. That was a question Jacques Doucet asked, like, would you play for the Saints? Or a Saints possibility. We'll see. My guess is that at this point, if you're a Fournette and you want to play, that any team that would call would be a possibility. I don't mean that to be disparaging in any way. I mean, Leonard is the greatest running back talent ever at LSU. I mean, he was a top 5 pick in the draft. He's amazing. But he's also a guy that didn't play football in 2024. So I started thinking, like, okay, well, would it make sense for the Saints to sign Leonard Fournette? And a couple of years ago, I did lobby for this because it made sense. A couple of years ago, you were still all in. When Leonard got released late in the year, I think it was in 22 by Tampa, if I'm not mistaken. I lobbied for the Saints to sign Fournette. He'd come off the playoff Lenny run. He was late in his career, but he would have still been sort of the Mark Ingram component of the Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram tandem that worked so well. Like there was a point where it made sense to bring in Fournette, not just because he played at LSU and was from New Orleans. Like stylistically, it made sense for what the Saints did. If you eliminate emotion of Leonard being from New Orleans and playing for the Saints, and you just do a blind resume, I don't think this makes a lick of sense anymore. And I get it, man. Having Clyde on the team is awesome. When they signed Tyron and Jarvis in the same offseason, it was like, man, like they're getting the band back together. We had the picture of Tyron in a Saints uniform holding up the LSU helmet, the St. Aug helmet on each shoulder. I mean, how cool was that? Sort of a full circle moment. They brought Will Clapp back this offseason. They signed Foster Moreau a couple of years ago as well. So you've seen this trend of LSU players with the Saints, which is really cool. I mean, it is cool to be able to root for the LSU guys in New Orleans. Quan Alexander. But if you just go blind resume, I don't think this makes sense. Leonard's 30 years old. And I know in real life, 30 is very young. Even for some NFL positions, 30 can be relatively young. For an NFL running back, we know that's typically when they fall off a cliff. And it's happened for Leonard, unfortunately. I mean, he had a great season in Tampa in 2021. He averaged 4.5 yards a carry, which was the most of his career, the yards per carry. He had 812 yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, was a very nice piece in Tampa after he had gone there late in 2020, was part of their Super Bowl run. We all remember playoff Lenny, carried that into 2021 where he played in 14 games and was a very productive player. And then in 2022 in Tampa, the productivity dropped. He had about the same amount of carries, but averaged about a full yard per carry less. He went from 4.5 yards a carry to 3.5, 8 touchdowns to 3, 800 yards to 812 to 668. Like the productivity just dropped. And you see that with running backs. And then he went to Buffalo in 2023 and saw action in just 2 games. And then last year, he didn't play. He didn't see action in a single game a year ago. Spent some time on Buffalo's practice squad, but didn't play. So the market sometimes tells you the answer. And the market is speaking very loudly about Fournette. He's a veteran player. He's 30 years old. From 21 to 22, his productivity dropped dramatically. And then he only played in 2 games for Buffalo and then was out of the league last year. So, I mean, the emotional part to see Leonard in the black and gold is really cool. I don't know that this helps you. And it's not a thing where you're looking for veteran depth. Like, we've had the conversation about the Saints adding a veteran quarterback, and the point I've made by and large is, look, even if Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler were to beat out that veteran quarterback, great. I'd still want a veteran in that room to mentor a young quarterback. I don't know that's even remotely comparable with running backs because you still got Alvin Kamara in that room, who's the greatest running back in Saints history. Kamara's 29 years old. Look at the rest of your running back roster. Velus Jones is 28 years old. Clyde's 26, y'all. Xavier Valladay's on the roster. He's 26. Kendre Miller's 22. And then you got Devin Neal and Marcus Yarns, 2 rookies coming in. You got 7 running backs on the roster. You don't need a 30-year-old running back. You just don't. You got one in Alvin Kamara. You don't need another 30-year-old running back on the roster. I mean, I guess because Leonard is stylistically very different from Kamara and Velus Jones, a bigger, more physical back. If you wanted to bring Fournette in, like sign him to a veteran minimum contract and let him come to camp and try to win a roster spot, okay. I mean, I guess I could see that. But truthfully, if I'm looking at a roster spot for New Orleans, I am more interested in developing Devin Neal and Kendre Miller than seeing what 30-year-old Leonard Fournette can give you. Because, again, this is how we have to reshape what we think about the New Orleans Saints right now. For 15 years, it was always, who's going to help you win a championship? You win the division, get in the playoffs, make a run. And this team isn't doing that anyway. So you've got to reframe to say, who's going to help you over the next 5 years? Well, Tyler Shuck is a very worthwhile investment over the next half decade. Kendre Miller, if you can start to get something out of him, he's only 22 years old. Yes, that's a worthwhile investment if you can maximize him. Kelvin Banks, can you figure out a way to make Trevor Penning a starting player even if at guard? Like, that's where your investment needs to be in this team. What young players can help you win over the next 5 years as you're building. You're laying the foundation and building again. 30-year-old Leonard Fournette isn't that. And under the new CBA, veteran minimums have priced a lot of guys out of the league. I remember, I know we've told this story before, but we had that conversation with Roman Harper. At the end of his career, Roman Harper said, I would have played another year for less than the veteran minimum. But when he had got a decade into the league or whatever the number was, his veteran minimum was like $1.2 million. He's like, I would have played for half that just to keep playing. Oh, I'm ballparking the numbers. Forgive me, I don't have them in front of me, so please don't quote me on that number. But it was something like that. Like for his tenure in the NFL, his veteran minimum was like $1.2 million or something like that. He's like, I would have played for $800,000, whatever the number was. He would have played for less than that. But contractually, in the CBA, he couldn't. So it priced him out of the league. So, and it's similar with Leonard here. Do the New Orleans Saints need an expensive veteran running back? No, they do not. They need to get younger and more affordable. And Leonard Fournette doesn't do that for you. So I wish him well, and I hope he catches on somewhere and has a really productive season and finds a niche somewhere with a winning team and has a chance to go ham in the postseason again and be playoff Lenny and, be a guy chasing another ring and maybe finds it somewhere. I just don't think it's in New Orleans in this year, in this transitional phase of the organization. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.